Hello, hello, people. Super excited to have with me here Sarah Warner from Termly. And to set the stage a little bit, so I am the founder, CEO of Icon Labs, a web design and product innovation studio based out here in sunny Arizona. And ever since I've been using Termly, I've been a raving fan of the tool. So I figured, hey, what better way to share with others than to have Sarah herself with me today. I'll let Sarah introduce herself real quick.
Thanks for having me, Anevi. I'm Sarah with Termly, and I help agencies and small businesses take data privacy compliance from being kind of an obstacle or a speed bump and turning that into a value add for your agency and something that you can actually offer to your clients to increase the value of your offerings and solve for data privacy compliance.
All right, let's go. And to be honest, like that has been something that I've really resonated with. So I started using Termly like late last year, earlier this year. I don't even remember. But I do know that one of the huge things it's solved for us has been with regards to privacy laws. There is a bazillion of those things, and it's like which one do we use for what country? So
Yeah,
Termly has
exactly.
really helped take away that anxiety. So Sarah, tell me, like, I know there are a lot of awesome stats about privacy, compliance, and all that fun stuff. So I'll let you share a few for
Yeah,
us.
I just grabbed a few to share with you today. And this is from a recent article that we published at Termly here. So 63% of internet users believe that most companies are not transparent about how their data is used. And 48%, this is of internet users, have stopped shopping with a company because of privacy concerns. So that's like,
Wow.
yeah, that's nearly half. Um, 84% of users are more loyal to companies with strong security controls. The average company has 500,000 files roughly containing sensitive data. And
Wow.
last one, so 32% of US companies now have a data protection officer, but get this, 27% have spent more than $500,000 to become GDPR compliant.
$500,000,
Half a million
27%.
of US
Wow.
companies, yes. Yeah. So when you look at the need for compliance versus the cost of getting there and the risk of being non-compliant, it's huge. Absolutely.
Yeah, like we see on the news all the time, right? You don't hear anything about it, and then you see on the news such and such a company just got breached. And it's always a nightmare, right? Getting extricating yourself out of that
Oh yeah.
situation.
No, you always
Once
see the headlines, the big tech, Google and Facebook, Amazon are always having these huge GDPR fines and things. But one thing I think that is really important to note, I mean, if you think about like your business or a business in your hometown, how disruptive would it be to them if it came out that they were mishandling personal data or selling personal data? I mean, that would be hugely disruptive. The damage to reputation, you know, might not be something that they survive. So that's another of the risks of being non-compliant. It's not just, oh, maybe there's some GDPR fines or CCPA here in the States and things like that, but what happens, if you lose trust with your users?
Yeah, right. It's hard to gain trust. And then once it's lost, it's hard to regain it back. Even
Yeah,
harder.
and I think it's kind of becoming the new normal too, that users are expecting companies to come out and say, here's our open, transparent privacy practices, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you don't want to see the cookie banner pop up on the screen and maybe it's annoying or you don't like it, but you do want to know that the companies that you're doing business with are taking care of your data and protecting your privacy. So I think
Absolutely.
that's the kind of users are becoming um, more aware of data privacy rights.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
like that. With regards to that, I'm thinking so Termly purports to solve that problem, make it super easy for companies to build trust, to be compliant. So what does that look like?
Great question. Yeah, our entire goal is to kind of take the complicated task of compliance entirely off your plate, and so that you can leverage our expertise and our in-house legal pros, so that you don't have to become an expert on GDPR or what are the CCPA thresholds, what am I subject to, which cookies need to be blocked, what policies do I need, all of these kinds of things. Who has the bandwidth to stay on top of all of that? So our goal is to just take that, the guesswork out of that for you.
Yeah, I mean, I can attest to that. So with my agency, and there is a case study which thankful that Termly published that. I'll put that in chat later on. But um, for us, I was doing the math and looking at the amount of time it took us to spin up, privacy policies and compliance for websites, for apps we're designing. And it was about 6 hours a week. And actually, that's been some weeks, obviously, more, but average 6 hours a week. And using a solution like Termly, right, has really helped us save time with that, because you spin it up. I have licenses already. I can add it for client websites or web apps we're working with. So it's been huge versus having to research all the different jurisdictions and privacy policies in those set jurisdictions. So like there is no friggin' way I could do that. Or the alternative, to pay an attorney to handle all of that, right? Which gets expensive super fast.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that you've really caught on to something in getting ahead of the requirement. So when you have clients coming to your agency, interested in your web design and your marketing services, being able to be proactive and going to them and saying, hey, you know what? This is one of my services that I offer to you, is making sure that you're entirely compliant. And instead of being reactive and saying, hey, I need your privacy policy to put on your website, and then your client is like, I don't know where to get that, or it takes a long time for them to source that for you.
Yeah,
So being able to offer that to them, I think it's a huge value.
absolutely. Um, let's see. Where do you see? This is broad, very very broad question. So I think you should morph it a bit as I ask it. But the industry is huge, right? And it's only going to keep growing with compliance. There's a lot of data out there being generated, many more companies, and those companies need to secure the data, especially with websites and apps and marketing. But where do you see the industry going so far? You could even contextualize for the U.S., for example.
That's a great question. So obviously GDPR is kind of like the gold standard globally. But here in the States, we have the CCPA, which is the California Consumer Privacy Act, which is going to be kind of the thought leader in that way. But we have already Virginia, Colorado introducing legislation for their own specific state requirements, as well as Utah coming up. And so with regard to the federal bill, I think it'll be a while before they land on that, but it's really a matter, I think, of when, not if, those stricter consent management requirements are going to be kind of the standard here in the States, whether we're expected to keep track of each individual state differently, or if there's going to be a federal bill that encompasses all of it. That's yet to be seen, but you can't expect that those regulations are coming. Those requirements will be in place at some point.
Yeah. And thank you for sharing that. This bleeds perfectly into the next question I was thinking through. And as a small business or an agency, right? Like how does GDPR, for example, affect me? Is it something I should be worried about, especially if I'm operating stateside here?
Yeah, good question. GDPR does affect you in that it requires that you have a privacy policy and that you are being open and transparent with your users about how you're processing their data. So CCPA follows that logic, and there are thresholds that you have to meet to be subject to CCPA, but the bottom line kind of is that it's required that you make available to your users in plain and simple to understand language,
Yeah.
what data is being collected, how it's being used, what it's being used for, and giving them the right to opt out and not share that data.
I
So,
like it.
in how it affects businesses and clients, I mean, hugely. The requirements that you have to be compliant, but then also in your practices, users have to have the right to opt out of having their data collected. So that can impact, your analytics. That can impact your advertising and your marketing strategies. That it can be hugely impactful. But kind of like I said earlier, the risk of non-compliance and that damage to reputation. Say it comes out that ABC company is not doing that correctly and is not
Yeah,
handling that data the right way. Um, that would be much much worse than maybe losing some information about your analytics.
not fun.
No.
Which leads me to something else, which I think Termly provides. Or do you?
Oh boy.
Um, so as a consumer, right, if I wanted to get access to my data, because I can do that, I can request data. Like, does Termly have that functionality? I'm going
Good
to be like,
question. Yeah, good question. It's called DSAR, so Data Subject Access Request, right? And that's when a user says, "Hey, I want to know which of my data you have collected and how you've used it, and I might possibly want it to be deleted." And they have the right to request that at any time. And currently, it's not a feature of the Termly solution, but it actually is on our roadmap to build that in.
yeah,
So that's kind of a stay tuned situation
all
because
right.
that is, yeah, because that is a very significant need to be able to manage those DSAR requests.
So we're getting the inside scoop here.
Yeah, stay tuned.
What's coming
To be
down?
determined.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh man. And folks, as you listened, feel free if you have questions. I see lovely Cross Stuffer just put a chat, some comments. So please feel free to put comments, thoughts, and questions you have in comments. If we can address them on this in this stream, we could do a subsequent one, or even record more conversations where we address those, and Sarah can also post about those. So please feel free, jumping, ask questions, or yeah, throw it in chat. With that said, there's something else that comes to mind. So as an agency, right, working with a multitude of websites, have you seen before where, so if I worked on a website, I built it, I launched it, is it my responsibility, like if there's a data breach or there's an issue with cookie policies and whatnot on the site, like who is the responsible party, if
great
is it
question.
going to be the client or is it me who built for the client?
Yeah, great question. Um, it's the client. It would be your client. It would be the business because ultimately it comes down to their data processing practices and their privacy practices. However, when you as an agency offer Termly and offer a comprehensive compliance solution to your clients, you're actually limiting your liability even more and protecting your clients even more, which is the point, right?
Yeah.
So narrowing that liability window and protecting them and offering them that coverage. Of course, if something went sideways, your agency would not be responsible. It would fall onto the client. But offering that protection, I think, is so key.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I mean that's something in my own experience too, just as extra, to cover your bases, adding it to the contract as an agency to say, hey, we have this solution, and this is what it does. But also just delete clearly defining, so clients, we're all in agreement to say, hey, the privacy is your responsibility. Now we have a tool that can help you, but that doesn't mean you should be lax with your,
Yeah,
privacy. You should still put things in place. And by the way, should there be a problem, it's not me it's not the agency, right? It's on you. It's your
yeah.
business. So that's something I have found to be helpful, just as extra, um, you know, cover a basis and also get alignment so the client knows exactly what to expect. Should
Yeah,
hopefully not should they get sued, something like
so
that.
important. And how has that process been for you? And Nebi, will you share with us in client proposals and drawing up contracts and things? Has the response from your clients been positive about compliance solutions as part of their web design or marketing package that you offer to them?
Yeah, so when I started the agency initially, it wasn't something we offered. We just tried to figure it out. And when I started offering Termly, and overwhelmingly, a lot of the clients that I do share it with, they're like, "Oh my goodness, it's a no-brainer service, right?" Because for a lot of folks, you're either going online and grabbing templates, and putting it on your site, right, and you have to
Copy
keep
and
updating.
paste.
Yeah, copy paste.
Yeah.
There's a lot of time wasted on that. I wouldn't. I guess I wouldn't say wasted, but there's a lot of time suck there, um, and not everything might be accurate. It's copy paste. You're not the expert. You're relying on somebody else who hopefully they know what they're doing. There's a lot of crap out there on the internet. And then cost wise, it can be quite expensive, right? Again, some of the templates are paid, or folks work with attorneys to generate these things. And again, time cost huge. So when I offer something like Termly, and it's like, oh my goodness, right? For a yearly amount, or you can even break it out monthly into the contract. Uh, this is perfect. It's going to be updated, right? Termly has legal. They're working with us. The policies auto generated based on details that I fill in. I have to fill those in, so it's just so convenient. Short answer is yes. It's been really successful for us and also for the customers we work with.
It's a
Speaking
question
of,
I get from agencies all the time is
yeah.
about, how much effort am I going to have to put into reselling? Am I have to going to go to, go to my entire portfolio, and pitch this, and what will the response be, and how much effort am I going to have to put into, um, you know, implementing and onboarding all of my clients? And resoundingly, the answer to that is usually it's a no-brainer. It's very it's very easy, and we actually help with agencies that have large portfolios.
Yeah.
We help migrate in bulk, and so we can import all of those clients, in one go to ease that even more. So
Oh la la.
yeah, it's a question I get all the time from agencies. Is like, oh my gosh, I already have all these clients, that put together a privacy policy from their attorneys, or maybe they don't need Termly, they don't think that they do, or whatever the case. But onboarding actually is pretty easy.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for sharing. I mean, again, I resonate with that. That's been my experience. Someone, Matt Jones, just asked a question. I'm going to pull it into view here. So Matt Jones says, is Termly focused on serving agencies or SaaS companies as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm like,
Termly,
both?
we built the solution with SMBs in mind. Of course, we service enterprise clients as well, but the platform is geared to be very intuitive, very simple to use. Um, my role with Termly is to work specifically with agencies, and to help them implement across their portfolios and those that manage multiple domains. So the answer really, it's yes. Focused on serving everybody, spreading the word of data privacy compliance, and yes, that's it.
Perfect. And just to clarify, when you say across multiple domains, so folks understand this better. Um, let's see. So how does licensing work for Termly? I guess I'll say that. When you
Yeah,
say domains, how does that compare with the
sure.
licenses?
We can kind of dive into some of the features of the platform itself. So, agencies have kind of an umbrella account, an overreaching umbrella account, and under that is all the domains that they manage. And so, when you have an account as an agency, you manage multiple domains, and you can invite multiple users to collaborate on those different domains, but they all kind of live under that one relationship. And
Oh,
so
okay,
with
cool.
each license, I'll add, with each license comes full access to both the consent management platform, and then also all of the policies. So it's not like you're paying for the license and then one policy or this or that. It's all inclusive.
Only okay. So the license is just the
Yep.
policies, the compliance policies, the generator. I think you can generate
Yep.
all this. Okay, perfect. Um, let's see. Any more questions here in chat? Let me check real quick. Matt Jones, I hope that answered your question. Oh, Matt Jonas, sorry about that. I changed the A to an E. I need glasses. So Matt Jonas, thank you so much for that question. Hopefully that addresses it. If you have more, do throw it in and we'll address. And afterwards, if you have more questions, feel free to ask, and we'll do our best to get it answered. Let's see here if we have any more questions coming to me directly via chat. For those who are shy. Okay, cool. So there is all of this stuff about compliance and data privacy and more scrutiny there. So as a small business, who like I still Matt is like thanks. So thanks, Sarah. But I still want to be able to collect data, right? I want to be able to collect customer data that is not that I can work with, so I can email them and things like that. What does it look like? What are the ramifications of a lot of these policies right now? Can I still collect data, like at least like marketing data via my website, for example?
Yeah, great question. Yes, you can. The Depending on the regulations and which requirements you are subject to, GDPR requirement says that you have to be open and transparent about your practices. And so you have to let your users know what data you're collecting, how you're using it, all the details around that, and then give them the option to opt in or opt out. So in EU and UK, they have a little bit stricter requirements where they have a manual opt-in. When you arrive at a site, the big cookie banner comes up and you have to accept, you have to obtain consent before any of those scripts can run, any of your analytics cookies or anything like that. Here in the States, we have what is called implied consent. And so when a user arrives at your site, and the cookie banner displays and they don't know what to do, they don't like it, they don't want to accept, or they ignore it or whatever, once they scroll to a certain part in your page, that is implied consent. So that is as if they accept it all.
So it's
So all those
silence.
scripts are still going to run.
Silence or inaction is acceptance, pretty
Yeah.
much. If you don't,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah. And for now, again, like for now, in the States, the requirements are not as strict as in the EU with GDPR. And so you can still run all of those tracking and analytics scripts for all of your data for marketing purposes and advertising.
Yeah.
But you can expect that to get stricter. I mean, the whole kind of the fundamental reasons of behind data privacy rights are that so people have a choice. So users can decide whether or not they give up their data for those purposes. Maybe they don't want their behavior tracked or analyzed or anything like that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
No, that's helpful. That's very helpful context. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Let's see here if there are more questions at all from the audience. Okay, cool. Well, no more questions in there. Is there any other thing you want to hit, Sarah, for what you see on the horizon for Termly? What things should get us super pumped for Termly?
Super pumped for Termly. Well, like I said, we service over 300,000 businesses and SMBs. Okay. My role is working specifically with agencies like Icon Labs and yourself. And so we do have some exciting product and features coming out in the next couple quarters and next year for agency specific. That would be, a customized portal. A lot of exciting things. So I'm going to again have to just say stay tuned on that one because I don't want to set the expectation and give too much away because I don't know when we're releasing these things. But what I'll do is promise to keep you posted, and I'll post in the LinkedIn chat, and maybe we'll do another session and we can dive deeper into that one.
Be like new feature rollout or
Yep,
features and walk through those. All right.
a big voila.
Well, people, I tried and tried to get Sarah to commit to some things, but it seems like it's all going to be TBD for now. But
Yeah.
no, it's exciting. I've really enjoyed using Termly, and I feel like a lot of agencies and businesses will benefit from utilizing your service as well. I just need to make sure. I'm going to put in the chat the case study I did with you guys. Icon Labs. So here is the case study. It firmly. There we go. In chat. So,
Perfect.
folks, if you're curious about what my experience has been, feel free, go read that. If you have more questions for me or Sarah, you can hit us up on LinkedIn, and we'll do our best to answer. I'll share my honest opinion of using the tool. Again, I really believe in Termly. It's helped simplify compliance and privacy for us versus trying to keep track and being the know with all the different bazillion laws for different parts of the world. So at least it solves for that and then more. So if you have any specific questions about my experience, hit me up. I'll do my best. And it's been a pleasure having you on here, Sarah. Thank you so much for the gift of your time and sharing your knowledge.
Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure. And yeah, any questions that I can help in the future, just reach out.
Splendid. And I'm going to grab. So for folks who want to. Oh, there's one. I'm going to pull that into because I think that's really
Thanks,
great.
Simon.
Hello, Simon.
Actually, I'll add this really quickly because Simon brings up a good point where he says that we've changed the way the agency partner program works. So recently we introduced a kind of entry level or a starter plan for agencies in which they can access the agency partner program without the upfront commitment of bulk license purchases. Okay, so it used to be that you had to commit to 10 licenses to gain entry into the program, and you get a big discount on the rate. Now you get a little bit less discount, but you can start with one, you can start with two, you can hop right in, get your feet wet, and start getting your clients' websites compliant without a big upfront investment.
Wow, that's good.
This is makes it a lot more accessible for smaller agencies.
Absolutely. Thanks for bringing that up, Simon.
Yeah, thanks, Simon.
And for those who want to get in contact with Sarah, obviously there is LinkedIn, but I'm also gonna Sarah, is it cool if I add your email in?
You can, just go ahead, throw all of my details in there.
Okay, so if you would like to get in touch, I'm typing it up real quick.
I just want to say thanks so much for putting this on, and Nevi, this is great to be able to just chat with you in a very kind of casual way about data privacy, because I think it is it can be such an intimidating conversation for some people, such a daunting topic, because it can get so complicated. People start throwing around alphabet soup and different regulations and things. And so to be able to just chat with it or chat about it with, a friend like a Nebi, it's very nice to be able to just have a conversation.
Absolutely. It is always a pleasure. And hey, informal and chill is how I like to roll. So
perfect.
And I'm just going to add your booking link, and we are golden. Put that on LinkedIn. Book time, Sarah.
Look at that. You are just like within seconds of your 30-minute mark too. That's what you're doing. You're just drawn to make sure you hit the 30-minute mark.
Yeah,
that's
I'm like
planning. That's strategy, Anebi. I like
that. Type in real quick. A couple seconds in, and yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Sarah. I'm gonna end the stream now, and
thank you.
We'll be in the backstage.